Good morning, people. March 12th today. Live streaming again. Looking at some tickers here. Feel free to throw out whatever tickers you guys are watching. Looking at most active tickers today. We don't have a lot of movers. We did get the bullish CPI print. Nasdaq's been going up. So let's look some tickers, shall we? Look up some stuff. Put NVDA here. Just maybe put TLPR. What else is moving here? Carvana. Let's look at Carvana. What's Carvana doing? Alright, so I'll be watching some of these tickers. I'm using 10-minute charts. We got the SPY, TLTR, Google, Carvana, NVDA, and Tesla. So that's what I'm watching so far. And I'll be scanning right now to see if we can get anything else that might be moving. Tesla also looks pretty good, actually. Maybe we can replace one of these with... oh, we already have Tesla. We already have Tesla. Tesla seems to be moving pretty strong, up about 8.5%. Wow, Tesla. See if you can maybe get a trade on it, that one on a pullback. So Tesla very strong today. That's awesome because it definitely has been beaten up, as you can tell here. Look at it on the daily chart. Beaten up pretty good. Yesterday was a little bit of a doji day, and now we got a big gap up. So my guess is NVIDIA looks similar. Yep. Not much, it's not really a doji day, but definitely a hammer candle and a big gap up. Maybe we see a relief bounce here. It's already a really big gap though. It's already a really big gap. So I have to be careful with these that have such a big gap. 7% up, Tesla up 8.2%. Yeah, let's see how these play out. Let's give it a few minutes. Alright, looking at hood right now, HOOD. I'm going to take that for a short on hood. It's my only trade of the day is hood short. Pretty early in the day to get into a trade, but I like this engulfing candle on hood, so let's see if that follows through. If not, we'll be stopped out and keep looking for another trade. Tesla remains strong. I already don't like hood here with this bottoming wick, so but we're in it. Let's see what happens. We are in it. Look, PLTR for a short as well. Let's put PLTR here. Carvana also looking really weak as well, Carvana. So I'm short PLTR, short hood, and looking at potentially getting into Carvana on a short. Alright, so shorted Carvana as well. So we're short 3 names, Carvana, Hood, and Palantir, PLTR. So 3 tickers short for me pretty early, and now let's see if we get a move down in the markets across the board. The SPY is also moving down. So PLTR, nice drop. That's working out nicely for us. Alright, I like Intel as well for a short. Looking at Intel for a short here. Let's put that up on the charts. So I am now short 4 names. PLTR, Intel, Hood, Carvana. So if the market rips higher, all these positions are going to be toast. So now let's wait and see. I got my stops in. Alright, so we've got those positions still on. Carvana short, Hood short, Intel short, and PLTR short. And looks like they're all in the money right now. So that's a good sign. Now we just need some continuation to the downside. Let's see how that how these tickers pan out. Hood is looking the best. It looks like it's like a gap and crap type of setup where you just pop it over into resistance and go back lower. Pretty much the same for all of these tickers, right? Boom, there we go, guys. Short's working out really nicely here. So we got the short going on. Carvana, it's working out nicely. Hood is doing great. Intel short and PLTR. So I'll be looking to take some hood profits closer to the highs made here in the afternoon range on HOOD, just below 37.50. Probably where I'm going to start taking it off and maybe cover it into some of the lows from yesterday. That's kind of my target for hood. As far as targets for the rest of them, so hood we talked about, shorting hood there, and looking for targets near the 37 area, and also 36, 37. Intel, pretty much the same situation. I'm going to be looking to cover Intel into some of that range from the late afternoon range yesterday, around the $20 area. Carvana looking to cover in the 169s. Again, same thing, looking to cover into some of the support areas which formed from yesterday in the 171, 170 area. And PLTR looking to cover in the 80s, and probably I'll leave some size on for 79, 77. So let's just see how these things pan out, because these could definitely just whipsaw back up to the upside depending on the SPY. But so far so good, all 4 positions in the money, and we're short 4 names. So far so good. Tesla with the big gap, I'm just wondering if this is one of those days where it just gives up the entire gap and closes it. It could very well be the case. Of course, for that to happen, we do need the SPY for Nasdaq to also do something similar. So Intel with forming a candle that I don't like to see when I'm short, and that's sort of a sideways candle with a wick below. That's not something I would like to see here when I'm short. I don't like to see the buyers come in near the opening range low in the 2060s. Not something I'd like to see when I'm short, but we got our stop in place, and we'll probably cut it if it makes a new high. We cut the short. That's how I'm gonna play this. Alright, so Intel, the only one that's really not working out. Well, slightly red on the Intel short. However, it does look fairly weak with the big gap up in a 2150s pre-market. It's got a lot of wicks in the pre-market up there, 2157s, 20 and 60s areas. And then, of course, it dropped lower pre-market around 8:30 before the market opened, and now it's sort of going sideways. So let's wait and see. Tesla's holding that 246. It held the 246 lows from the opening range, 245, 246, curling up. And SPY has also bounced off 559. So this could potentially be a turning event for a lot of these tickers to bounce back up, since they've already very strong. They've bounced, they've gapped up quite a bit pre-market, so they're already strong. And if the SPY makes a run up, this could be a bounce higher, especially on tickers like NVDA and Tesla. And they're both very strong. But for now, we're still holding firm on our shorts on Carvana, Hood, Intel, and Palantir. But I'm going to definitely tighten my stops here. If they turn around and they show signs of strength, then probably going to cut and look for a different setup. All right, come on down, everything. Come on down. SPY wants to come down, but keeps wicking the bottom. Keeps wicking the 559. Is not a good sign for our shorts, but so once again, it's kind of made a new low and bounced back up. Tesla looks pretty strong. NVIDIA also curling. All right, I'm looking for a long here on Tesla. So in case we are wrong on all the shorts, at least we'll have the Tesla long working for us. We're about break even on all our shorts right now. Except Intel is a little bit of a loser. But I do like this setup on Tesla here, where it's gapped up, made a move up, sideways, down, and now if it can make a run up through the highs, then that's going to be pretty awesome. And same thing with NVIDIA. as well. Maybe we'll replace Intel with NVDA so you guys can follow along. I like this also for a long. If NVIDIA can crack over this area, that can also be a good long setup. AMD also looking good. AMD looking like it wants to crack up through the high of day. So the semis are pretty strong today. SMCI also looks good. Just putting the extended hours back on the charts. I think it looks a little cleaner with the extended hours, and also it's good to have the VWAP fit a little better, I think. So I'll put that back on. So I got long Tesla here, 249s, and sort of went up, made a run over 250, and now it's pulling back, which is not a good sign for the longs, but we got about a minute left in this candle. So let's see how this candle finishes. NVIDIA is looking very strong. I think I will take a long on NVIDIA here. It's up 7%, and I think this is a good setup for us to get long here. We just need this market to continue higher. That's the only thing, and I think we may get that here. So I'll take a long here on NVIDIA as well. So it's held the VWAP after that doji that formed on the VWAP. So we had a big up move, some consolidation near 115s, and I like that. So we're going to get long. So we got 6 trades on right now, guys. 6 trades. It's 10:09 in the morning. We get 6 trades, 4 shorts, 2 long trades. So kind of I guess hedging myself with the NVIDIA and Tesla longs. All right, so we got stopped out of the NVDA, the long on NVIDIA, and I am also stopped out of the Tesla long, and I believe a short on Tesla might work out well, but again, this is kind of going sideways, so I need to be careful. The shorts are all working amazing, by the way. Refreshing it on Hood, Intel, PLTR, and Carvana shorts. So looking to take a cover soon here on the Hood short and Carvana. Have not covered any of these positions yet on the short side. So I'm stopped out of the two longs that I took on Tesla and NVIDIA. You know, Tesla and NVIDIA still might be longs for the day. It's just that they're basically going sideways, right? I mean, literally sideways. There's been no move since the gap up. And that's a problem when a lot of these stocks gap up so much that it sort of kills the move for when the market opens. So or it just becomes like a choppy day, kind of like you see here on Tesla, where we took a long, which is a pretty reasonable long here. You know, we had a bounce off the VWAP, some sideways consolidation. You know, it's pretty reasonable to take a long here. Same thing with NVIDIA, like pretty reasonable long off bounce off VWAP. Of course, we're gonna have our stops here, which got stopped out. So I don't hate any of these trades. The issue here is that the large gap up 7.5%, or was 9% earlier, and then NVIDIA up so much. So, and of course the context of the market being going lower, but then also here it's kind of just chopping sideways here in the 560s. It's got some support here. So it doesn't really make for like an A+ setup when these kind of conditions. So I probably should have stayed out of both of these, but I don't mind taking them like in a vacuum. I think they're pretty decent setups. So well, let's get rid of NVDA and put an Intel here. Intel short working out nicely, and if it breaks below this area, I think you can get a nice waterfall down into yesterday's range of the $20 area, especially if you can break this pre-market low 2050s. So Intel, I'm up an hour. Hood, I'm up 1 hour. Okay, just took a cover here on Intel short. Just covered a piece to pay myself. SPY really again wants to break the lows, but again, it's, you know, we've got 3 wicks here on the bottom on SPY. Will it really break it this time? It's kind of hard to trust it, right? Tesla hanging on to this trend line that we put up. If it breaks that, do we get a waterfall down? Yeah, this might be, again, an all shorts kind of day. Alright, so Tesla, do I want to short this thing? I don't know. It's basically moving sideways. I mean, we've tried the long, it didn't work out for us. The short on it is very tempting, for sure. And I think it might be the right play to short this thing. Apple going below its lows. Let us wait and see. Wait and see. So I've moved down my stops quite a bit on Intel, Carvana, PLTR, and Hood to the point where I'm risking very little now, just fractions of an hour for me. So now we just need to continue for them to move in our favor for us to realize that full gain on those positions. So far, break-even-ish day for me. Slightly green, but the two losses on that we took, the full R loss on NVDA, that was the one big hit, and then Tesla I actually cut that before it got to the stop. So that one, we didn't lose a full R on that, but you know, that was also a loss. And then the 4 tickers that we got working that are green are Intel, Carvana, PLTR, and Hood. Short. So these 4 we're short on. These are working out well. Although I have not covered anything on Carvana. Intel, I did take a cover here. And Carvana, and pretty much all these shorts that I have, if they break and hold over VWAP, that's where I'm going to cut them short. So, and that's going to be a loss of maybe a half an hour or a little bit less than half an hour if these do get stopped out. So again, the SPY is bouncing off of our line here, 558.40. Man, it just doesn't want to go down today. This is definition of sideways market, by the way. These are 10-minute candlesticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they all look the same. I mean, literally has done nothing. And during this type of environment, when you trade, when you're scalping, day trading, it's gonna be difficult to reach your targets because things are just gonna go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, as we see on Tesla here. Difficult. The only clean moves are, you know, Intel's been clean relatively, but everything else not that clean. Not that clean. So, of course, the trick is, like, how do we know this type of day is going to happen? Right? If I had known this was going to happen, maybe I don't take the trades on Tesla or the NVDA long that we took earlier. But, of course, that's hindsight talking. We really don't have a way to know that. Other than just, you know, paying more attention, being more patient, waiting for these candles to form, and then making a trade, right? So that's, I could definitely be more patient. That's for sure. That is for sure. But, you know, we got our stops in place. Like I said, I've lowered the stops too. So if we do get stopped out, it's not going to be a big loss on any of these positions. So, all right, we got a chat from Chris Taps. He's asking, he or she is asking, are you trading on the 10-minute chart? Yes. We are using 10-minute charts. Yeah, and I've used just about every time frame you can imagine. I do look at all time frames from the daily, hourly, 30-minute. But yeah, I used to trade off a 1-minute chart for a long time, just scalping the market open. Then I moved on to 5 minutes, and now I feel like 10 minutes just gets me, just allows me to be more patient. So, so yeah, we are using 10-minute charts. Of course, Chris Taps, I'm a he. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all of my 3 followers for tuning in. Hey, you got to start somewhere, right? So yeah, so look at Tesla now and SPY. Again, it wants to break. Is this the real move here? Is this the real move on Tesla? This is really what I'm looking at here. Hey, Marv, morning to you. Marv XC. He says, yeah, choppy morning in short, MSTR and long on MSTZ. Oh, he's short MSTR while he's long MSTZ, which means that when you long MSTZ, that's the short. That's the short ETF. Is that right? MSTZ is a short one for leverage. So it's a leverage product to go short. MSTZ would be shorting MSTR. That's interesting. I don't trade any of those leverage products. Like, you know, there's one for TSLL. I think that's Tesla leverage product. And then there's NVDA, I believe. Let's look at MSTZ. What's MSTZ doing? Oh, nice, man. Nice, Marv. I like this setup here. It's cool. I'm guessing you probably got long on MSTZ somewhere around here, because this was a nice setup. It broke over the opening range, and then it hasn't really looked back, right? Just broke up and never looked back. So pretty cool. Pretty cool setup there. And approaching this upper line 2137. Not sure what your target is on that, but yeah, MSTR, if you pull, oh, by the way, all my shorts are working out super nicely here. Intel, looking great. My stop on Intel is now going to be a little bit below my break even, so that means can't lose on Intel. Intel is probably going to end up being my biggest winner. PLTR, that one is looking great. Really loving this candle, right? If you're short, man, there's nothing sweeter than a big fat red candle when you are short. This is awesome. I'm going to try to cover some here. This is going to be around this 50 period SMA. So I'm just waiting just below the 81. Let's see if it can dip just below to cover like 80-90 or something like that. Let's see if we can break the 81. And then I'll cover a piece, because I'm really looking for PLTR to move quite a bit lower, like into 79 and maybe even previous day's close, which is a 78 area. So Kristaps has asked, are you a day trader, options, or stock? Yeah, I'm a day trader. I am here trading stocks every day. And I mostly trade the first 3 to 4 hours of the market open. I use shares, so I'm using stocks. I do not trade options. I have traded options in the past. I've talked about that. And I've played around with options quite a bit, even using stuff like option spreads and, iron condors and bull put spreads, bear put spreads, call spreads, credit spreads, you name it. Like, I've done all that stuff with options, but I like the simplicity of, just shares. Like, I think this is going up, or I think this is going down, and then having clear stops in place and just kind of following my plan. So that's why I choose to focus on stocks for now, but who knows, things could change depending on what I see out there. But yeah, right now I am day trading stocks, so I don't really hold anything overnight. It's pretty rare I'm going to hold a position overnight. So I'm usually going to be out of all my trades within a few hours. But I would kind of consider myself a intraday swing trader, since I do tend to hold these positions sometimes 4 or 5 hours. I don't want to hold them that long because I'd rather take my profit in a few hours and leave. But sometimes, it doesn't work out the way you want it to. Just took a cover here on Hood. Took my first cover on Hood. I had it there near just below the low of the day on HOOD. Let's put that up. MSTZ, by the way, you're killing it, man. Marv, killing the MSTZ. Shorting MSTR, Monster Energy Drink. Just kidding. MicroStrategy. Bitcoin ETF, MSTR. Oh, wow. Look at that move on MSTR. So, yeah, you could have shorted MSTR. Of course, you do need a lot of buying power for that, because being $260 versus MSTZ, you could just long it, which is what Marv did. So, target, Marv is saying my target on MSTR is 250. Man, let's check this out. Let's check out MSTR. See what Marv's talking about here. 250. Why is Marv saying 250? Let's see. 250. Ah, that's why Marv's saying 250. I like it, Marv. Boom. Right there. That is a great trade, Marv. Good job, man. Previous resistance turned into support. So we got this area from yesterday. Can definitely see MSTR bouncing off that area. And if not bouncing off, then, you know, at least hitting that area. Maybe it slices through and we can continue lower, but that's a good target to have in mind. I mean, this is good. Also, you got the pre-market lows on MSTR at 253. So that's also a pretty good target if you're short this one. Man, I wish I would have gotten short some crypto names. I was looking at Mara very early on. Looking at Mara, but did not do anything with it. But Mara had a nice setup. Mara had a nice setup here for a short. Kind of had this engulfing candle here. It's probably where I would have gotten in. Well, let's see here. What do we got? Kristaps is asking, do you trade the open or do you like to wait a bit for things to settle? I get into problems running the open usually. Is it all level based? Yeah, pretty much. I like to wait for things to settle. Yeah, and I used to trade right at the open. I mean, the first candle, first 1 minute candle, or, you know, first couple minutes, I'm in there, man. You know, I traded like that for a long time. You know, for years I traded where I would just be in the first few minutes, 1 minute candlesticks, gunslinging, you know, short, long, whatever, you know, all in, full size. And, you know, I didn't have the best results, man. You know, like some days I did amazing, right? I made like 10 R in 10 minutes and I'm done for the day, right? I'm all in. Yeah, first candle, 1 minute candle, all in. Let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Like Tesla's, you know, you could get in Tesla with 500 shares, it goes up $10 in the first 2 minutes, right? So why not, right? Your brain sees that. It's like, hey, let's do it every day. Let's get in that first minute candle and let's make this, you know, get 500 shares, make $10, $5,000, and you know, you're done trading by 9:40 in the morning, and you can go back to sleep. Yeah, you know, that's great when it works out. That's really great when it works out. And the days where it worked out, I felt like a champion. You know, I felt like an absolute champion. I'm like, I got this trading thing. Short 500,000 shares, whatever. Not 500,000, but 500 or 1,000 shares. Maybe not Tesla, but, you know, maybe a lower price stock like Mara or something, you know. Boom. You get like $1 move and you feel amazing. So, yeah, I mean, it's great when it works out, but when it doesn't, when it doesn't work out, that's when it is, you know, let's look at a 1 minute candlestick and see what we're talking about. Like, this is a good example here. These are 1 minute candles on Intel. And, you know, you get into this 1 minute candle. Let's say let's say you're patient and you wait for this candle. You're not jumping in short here because this was a red candle, right? And then it turned green and you're like, oh, bottoming wick, all in long right there, 2093, 5,000 shares. right? Because this is a bottoming wick off of some support line, and you're like, boom, I'm all in. Well, goes up a little bit on the next candle, and then slams back down below your entry, and now you're like panicking because now this is like an engulfing, or almost going to be an engulfing red candle. So you're like, oh, maybe I should stop out, and of course you stop out right here, dead bottom. You stop out of your long, and then you're like, okay, this candle I'm going to short. Red candle, this is coming down. Short. Boom, 5,000 shares. And what happens? Peekaboos a little bit, goes up sideways, and you're like, okay, this thing is dumping. And then you get a ripstick upwards, and you lose. So this is what happens, right? When you're trading 1 minute candles right at the open, you're just at the mercy of what the market wants to do. The market makers, if they got orders to fill, orders to sell, in the first 5 to 10 minutes, they're just going to manipulate the price to match whatever they need to do, right? If they have a lot of inventory to sell, they're going to chop it up in this range. Once they've done selling, they'll let off the selling, and then boom, you'll get a move up, or vice versa. It's just that, we don't know, right? And Kristaps is saying this is exactly what happens. That's right. That's exactly what happens, and I've been there, man. I've been there. I've done that. Been there and done that. Trading the open using 1 minute candlesticks. I mean, I know people that do that. There's people that do that on YouTube, right? There's other channels that I won't name. There's other people that maybe do that too. And I'm not knocking it. If they figured out a way to trade 1 minute candlesticks at the open and they're doing it successfully, consistently making profits, that's great. I keep doing it. Whatever works for you, you have to keep doing it. But what I'm simply trying to point out is that, good luck trying to trade this kind of chop using a 1 minute candlesticks right at the open. Now, maybe if you're a bit patient, you wait 5 minutes and you say, oh, okay, this kind of range has been put in. And then you kind of take this curl, you take a long here, and you catch this move. So you catch maybe 10, 15 cents of a move. Okay, I can see, and that's kind of what I used to do. I would wait a couple minutes and be like, okay, this is holding, get long. So yeah, I mean, you can do that, and maybe it works out for you. But what I'm trying to say is, what the point I'm trying to make is that it's not about the times that it works, right? It's not about the times that it works, because, for example, like Mara, let's look at Mara on a 1 minute chart for today. Let's look at Mara, because this probably worked out okay. I mean, not that great, but let's say you waited until this point and you shorted here, and you got a pretty clean move. You got a pretty big move here from this. Let's say you shorted here in the 70s, you got it down to 30, you made 40 cents profit, right? Pretty good. And you're done by I'm in the Pacific time zone, so this would be 9:30, depending on where you are. 9:30 market opens. So you're done with the day in 30 minutes, and you can walk away. If you took the short here using 1 minute chart on Mara, right? It works. The problem is that when it doesn't work, which is here, you get chopped up in this. Or, I mean, let's look at Tesla. Tesla was even worse, right? If you look at, I have Tesla up here. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla, 1 minute. Yeah, I mean, this would have gotten me. I don't know about you guys, but maybe you go along here, and then you see this candlestick, you get out, you get back long, and then if your stop is too tight, maybe you stop out here, and then you end up just getting chopped all the way, and then finally you go long here, and then you just get a move down. So the point I'm trying to make with all this is, yes, it can work. The problem is when it doesn't work. When it doesn't work, you lose a lot. And if you're anything like me, you don't like to lose. right? If you're anything like me, you don't like to lose in this chop, and you're like, oh, I'm going to get this sucker back. And then you're like, okay, I'm shorting here full size INTC, 5,000 shares. This is definitely going down. Look at this wick up here. And then, so the problem is not when it works. The problem is when it doesn't work, it really messes with your brain, and you end up going to revenge mode, and you start trading individual candlesticks. Like this one. You're like, oh, this is red, stock's going down. But nope, going up. And then here, individual candlestick, big stock, big ripstick going up, big green candle going up, and you're like, this is definitely going up another $1 here. We're going to 21.50s. You get long here, and instantly you're rejected, and you sell for a loss, and maybe you get in again here, thinking it's going to go up. So the problem is when it doesn't work, you get crushed. When trading 1 minute candlesticks off the open doesn't work, you end up getting yourself into so much trouble. And yeah, I'm speaking from personal experience on this. You know, you get into so much trouble trading this stuff that by the time you know 1 hour goes by, even if there's a clean move like Intel, this is a pretty clean move later on, but you're red on the ticker because you've been trading this the wrong way. Wrong meaning you have just been wrong. Maybe your strategy's not wrong, but you've just, you know, you're just frustrated, you're upset about losing so many trades, and you're angry. And that's going to lead to a lot of frustration and you making some bad decisions, and you get stuck in this cycle. And that's the problem with trading the open using, you know, the 1 minute charts especially. So that's why I kind of moved away from doing that, you know, because when it worked great, but when it didn't work, it was just like disaster. And then you end up missing the move anyway. So I decided that for my newer style of trading is to just wait, use 10-minute charts, and use levels. Yeah, basically using levels. So using support, resistance, levels, trend lines, which are basically all just tools, right? Like using levels or trend lines or whatever indicator that you're using. It's just like a tool for risk management. That's the way I look at it. It's a tool for risk management. So it's not necessarily like this indicator is going to tell you when to short or long. It's just more so like I'm going to use this indicator as a risk management tool so that if it does X, then it's good. If it does Y, then I stop out. It's kind of like you're just using it as a tool to manage risk versus like, you know, I'm going to buy every time it goes over a moving average or short below. Those things don't work. So that's kind of my take on, you know, trading the open or using lower time frames. I have done it, and like I said, I know people that do that, trade using 1 minute charts. A lot of people do. And I think the ones that are successful doing it are probably good at reading order flow, level 2, time and sales, tape reading. I think you have to do that, right? Because what I described earlier, you're just kind of like chasing 1 minute candlesticks, you know, like a blind squirrel. You have no idea what's happening. And so, but the guys that are really good are reading the tape. You know, they're reading level 2. They're seeing for buyer. They can spot big buyers. They can spot big sellers on the level 2, and that gives them the edge. That's the edge to chase the 1 minute candlesticks, or maybe not chase, but you know, maybe they you know, getting short where there's a big seller, or they're bidding up where they see a big bidder, stuff like that. You know, you definitely, if you develop that skill of reading the tape, I think that can definitely be fine. Read a 1 minute, you know, trade the open and use a shorter time frame. But I prefer the slower style now. I just feel like it's way easier to manage risk when things are moving slowly, and you can still bang out a lot of profit, you know, using higher time frames. You might just have to wait. You know, like I'm still in all these trades. I'm still in Intel short, Carvana short, PLTR hood. I'm still short. I've taken pieces of pieces off on these to cover some of them, but you know, I am looking for a move lower on all of these. So let's look at some other stuff that I'm NVIDIA looks interesting again. It has bounced off the 20 SMA, and I am tempted to long it again. SPY has moved back down, holding this 556 level for now. Let's see where we are on the 30-minute chart. Yeah, I mean, this is SPY on 30 minutes. So, I mean, you got this big downtrend on SPY, big downtrend. Pop, sold off, pop, selling off. So, not a big fan of longs right now. Not a big fan of longs. But, well, I almost had to do a double take. Tesla and NVIDIA look almost the same. Looks almost exactly the same, these two charts. So we got about 5 minutes left on this current candlestick to see how these close for both NVIDIA and Tesla. I do like them for longs, but what's holding me back is the SPY. But the SPY is also bouncing, and if this ends up being the bottom, then we're gonna have a really nice move. But I think I just need to be patient, wait for the candle to close, and then we can still get in a trade, right? You gotta avoid this FOMO mentality. We can still always get in a trade. We just have to wait. This is what I'm talking about here. Like, a minute ago, Tesla and NVIDIA looked good. They both look good for long, but look at the upper wick now that they're forming. You know, just in 2 minutes, things change. So, I'm learning to just wait for the candle to close. I'm learning to wait and be patient. And it's really the only way to avoid FOMO is whatever time frame you're using. You know, even if it's a smaller time frame, like 5 minutes or 3 minutes, 2 minutes, just wait for the candles to close. Of course, when you're using a smaller time frame, if you're using a 1 minute time frame, waiting for a 1 minute candle to close is not necessarily going to tell you anything, right? Versus if you're using like a 5 minute or 10 minute or 30 minute, you know, those are going to carry more weight. So, yeah. But the shorts are working out nicely. Intel back to the lows. Let's put that up. Oh, I already have that up. So nice candle here forming on Intel. And I'm looking to cover Intel Yeah, just a little bit lower here. 2019, I have an order to cover 2019 and then one below $20. So let's see what happens. SPY also pointing back down. Look at that candle. You know, just a few minutes ago, the current candle on SPY, the 10-minute candle, was solid green, right? And if you looked at that and you jumped into a trade, you would be in a bad position right now, right? And this is why I use the 10-minute charts. This is exactly why. So that's this kind of forces me to be patient, because by default I don't have a very patient personality, so I have to force myself to be patient. Chris Taps is saying, I like your stream, thank you. What is the setup you are looking for? Tag of a level and wait for a strong candle to close. That's a good question. What am I looking for? Well, yeah, I mean, that is one thing, a tag of a level and wait for a strong candle close. Yeah, that's definitely a setup that I would look for. Like, for example, I can tell you, let's look at one on, for example, let's just take one, Carvana, for example, right here. Like, Carvana tagged this level, and what I like to look for is, by the way, I'm not like an expert day trader or anything like that, but this is just like what I'm looking for, right? There's many different things at work, but I like this wick tag of this level. The wick at the top tells me that there's more sellers on this thing than buyers, especially in the first 10 minutes. And then you get this engulfing red candle here on Carvana, right? You got the engulfing, and I think I took the short around here, somewhere around here on the second candle. So that's two things, well, three things really. Tag of a candle, large wick forming, that's number two, and then the engulfing candle. The second candle engulfs the entire first one. Those three things to me create this setup for a short on Carvana. For Intel, similar, right? You had a big up move on probably some sort of news for Intel, maybe it's tariff related news or whatnot, but then it sold off pretty steadily and it was really weak pre-market, never really made new highs, and then dropped just before the market opened, and then we had a little pop into that level, right? Pop into this 2115 level, and then again it gave a big wick. This is an inverted hammer candle, big wig up top, and that's when I got short on this candle, is where I got short on Intel. I think I got short right around here, and then I've covered some here. I think I covered some here, yep, right there, and then I'm trying to cover some closer to this line probably here, yep, 2019. I'm going to try to cover in this area, and then maybe even lower into these areas. So yeah, that's kind of the setup that I'm looking for. It's not just like one setup, because there's like different types of setups. In fact, like I like this Tesla setup here. I don't know if necessarily I would take this one here on Tesla, because you get this, you know, you get this up move, double top, move down, clear move down here on Tesla off the double top, slice through the VWAP, close below it, and then you got this big wick candle that clearly rejected the VWAP, right? Clear rejection of the VWAP, and then now you got a candle that's moving lower. This would be a setup that I would take for a short, right? This is a pretty basic setup. Nothing, I'm not inventing anything new here. This is pretty basic, you know, a wick off of a level, rejection, inverted hammer, and you got a engulfing red candle that's breaking new lows. So, you know, this is a setup that I would take. The reason I'm not taking it now is Tesla's up 5%. It's been pretty choppy for the day, and I just don't trust it to make a clean move. I could be totally wrong here. Maybe this thing dumps like 10 bucks right now and make me look bad. But yeah, this is another type of setup. The other thing, also look at this trend line. I like to use trend lines, and if you see this trend line I've drawn earlier in the day, it's clearly broke the trend line and retested it. This is pretty interesting here. Look at that, right to the T. Bang, right off of that trend line. Rejected and came down. I mean, you know, it could be just coincidence, probably is coincidence, but this does happen a lot, where if you put a trend line up, you'll notice that a lot of times price will, you know, bounce off that trend line. A lot of times. Not every time, but a lot of times. And again, like for me, using trend lines and stuff like that is not like a the holy grail. Like, oh yeah, trend line, every time bounces, boom, I'm in. Or every time it cracks cracks under a trend line, I'm short, or over a trend line, I'm long. That's not how I use trend lines, and I don't think people should use them like that. Trend lines are just like, I use them just like any other indicator. They're just a guide to manage risk, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that this is when you should enter or exit a trade. It just means, okay, I can use this trend line as a tool to manage risk. That's the way I look at it personally. I don't know if that's right or wrong or what, but that's the way I do it. So for example, if I was shorting this, I would use this trend line and put my stop above the trend line. And that's my way of managing the risk on the setup, right? And if I feel like, okay, I'm going to short it here and I'm going to put a stop over this trend line, then you got to decide if this thing has enough juice for it to come down far enough to offer you at least 2R or 3R from your entry. And if the answer is yes, then you take the trade. And if you're wrong, you get stopped out. If you're right, you make a profit. The important thing is that you have a system and you have a method of managing risk versus like just chasing every 1 minute candle, because that's just going to whip you around. That's just going to lead to you getting frustrated. So I would rather just set my plan, set my orders in, and if the market says I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like on NVDA, I was wrong, right? NVDA, I took a long, and right here we took a long pretty early on NVDA, and the market's like, nope, you were wrong, buddy. So we stopped out, and it's all good, because right now I'm up almost 4R. I'm up almost 4R on my open trades right now. And if they continue to go lower, that's going to add even more profit to my day. So, and you know what the beautiful thing is, guys? The beautiful thing about the trades that I have open right now is that I have no risk on the trades. I have no risk. That means I can't lose on them. My stops are below my entry on the shorts. So if the stocks, all these stocks, they turn around reverse, the worst that can happen is I make a little bit of profit. So it's a nice situation to be in, to put yourself in a position where the worst thing that can happen is that you make some money, right? The best thing that can happen is you make a lot of money. But that's what I'm doing. That's what I like. I like being in these situations where it's like a win-win, right? It's like if the stock stops me out, okay. Like at this point, if it stops me out, I'm still going to make a small profit. Of course, if it stops you out early on, then you just take that the loss, like we did on NVDA, right? That was a losing trade. Tesla was also a losing trade, but I cut that off before it could get to my stop, so I didn't lose the full R. And right now, things are moving very nicely. So, yeah. We're just going to keep hoping, use some hopium here, that things keep going towards our targets. Come on, hood, come on down. I'm trying to cover in 3660s for hood. Okay, Intel, I just covered some more, guys, on Intel. Covered some more on the Intel in the 2020s. I got a cover on 2020s. Now I just got a third of my size left on the Intel short. The PLTR short also is working out beautifully here. I'm trying to cover that at 79. So let's see. And then this is the point where I sometimes get, you know, sometimes get a little weary holding these positions because my unrealized gain is pretty big on all these positions. Intel, Carvana, PLTR, hood. Unrealized, I'm up like 4R on all of these. So now I have to kind of force myself to wait and be patient for the covers. But then if I do that, these things could reverse and I could lose the unrealized gains on these. So this is where I'm still working the kinks out in my system to whether, you know, like when do I want to take profits. So that's why, if you noticed, I've already taken profits. Like on Intel, I've taken 2 covers already. Carvana, I haven't taken any covers, but I'm trying to right now. And almost, wow, it almost filled me, but it didn't at 175.30s. I have an order at 175.30s on Carvana. It did not fill me. Wow. Although the price did go as low as 175.06. Interesting. Carvana is interesting. It's hard to get like accurate fills on Carvana. I'm guessing it's not very liquid. Must be a very illiquid type of stock. So, but anyway, trying to get a cover. Hopefully, I'll get a cover soon here on Carvana. I moved up my order a little bit, trying to chase a cover here on Carvana. Trying to get this profit going here. Come on, give me a dip lower on Carvana. 175.50s is all I'm asking. The bid is 175.50, but the ask 176.10. Wow, really spready stock here. It's like a 50-cent spread on this thing. Crazy. But yeah, so that's the plan on that. Hood leaving a pretty big wick here. Do I not have hood up? No, I don't. Okay, I should put hood here. Hood, yeah. So wicked right off the shoe. So these are the things that when I do see stuff like that, it does make me want to cover. When I see wicks off of like a simple moving average, like especially 200 SMA is a pretty pretty solid moving average. So I'm trying to cover here on hood. And then trying to cover on Carvana. Intel, my cover is going to be below 20. Now I'm just going to wait for this thing to waterfall all the way down. And then, like I said, my stop is, if it gets hit, I still make a little bit of profit because that's going to be over the VWAP is my stop. Same thing with PLTR. Stop is going to be over the VWAP, which would still put me in profit. Same thing for hood. So we're just waiting these out. And Kristaps is asking, for how long have you been trading? Are you trading full time? Yes. Yes, someone asked me this yesterday. I've been trading on and off for like 15 years. Yeah, I was trading stocks a long time ago. And over that time, I've done like shares, options. I've traded some futures. So for like 15 years on and off, I've been trading. But, you know, during those 15 years, I wasn't a full-time trader. I was like trading for a little bit in between school or between jobs and sort of dabbling in it. Never really took it that seriously until about 5 years ago. Since 2020, I have been a full-time dedicated trader, and I've rarely missed a day of day trading, if you can believe that. Even on vacation, I'll take my laptop and trade. I actually love doing that. I love trading from vacation. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. Maybe because I trade better when I'm on vacation. Because I'm just more careful. Because, like, who wants to lose money while you're on vacation? You're about to go on the beach and you're down $1,000. Who wants to lose when you're on vacation? But, you know, sometimes I do, right? Because I trade when I'm on vacations, and sometimes I do have a red day. But it's funny how your brain kind of works. Like, I found that some of my better days have been on vacation, where I'm like, I skip a lot of things where I'm not sure, and then boom, I hammer in on the stuff that I know that's going to work. And then I walk away. I'm not there all day trading on vacation. You know, I'm not sitting there all day, you know, 6-8 hours a day in front of my laptop looking for trades. Even if I'm losing. If I lose and I have a small loss, I move on. I enjoy my day on vacation. But, you know, it's funny. It's actually funny when you think about, like, how I'm trading better on vacation than I do every day at home. Because at home, it's like I have all day to get myself into trouble. I have all day to look at stuff and get myself into these stocks. And but yeah, so I am a full-time trader, and I've been trading exclusively. I mean, I do have a small business, e-commerce business, but trading is my thing full-time. So that's what I'm doing for the past 5 years or so. How about you guys, by the way? How long have you all been trading? Marv and Kristaps? Out of curiosity. Alright, let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see what you guys are saying here. You guys are saying Kristaps has been dabbling at it for 10 years. Man. So you know, you're with me, man. Been a long journey, right? Been a long journey. But not full time because you've had a job and family. But I love trading. Would love to one day do this full time. Yeah, man. I totally get it. I have a family too. And, you know, like I said, I've had jobs or a business or whatever I've been doing in addition to trading. And, you know, wanting to do this one day full time is the dream. You know, this is the dream of doing it one day full time, making consistent income, pulling money out of the markets. That is a dream. That's what we all want. And, you know, that's kind of why I made this channel, just to kind of chat about this and learn together. Like, you know, I'm not some kind of super trader expert, but it's cool to kind of get some people together and trade similar styles, like large caps and stuff, because there's a lot of people that trade small caps and futures, and I don't really find too much stuff about traders that are trading large cap stocks like Tesla, Intel, you know, NVDA, stuff like that. So I thought, let's just kind of put some stuff out there and see if we can get some people together. So Marv is saying that he's been trading since 2021 when he got out of high school. That's awesome, Marv. That's awesome. And you're part-time. That's really cool, man. You're super young. That's cool that you're starting young. I think I probably started trading too, like in my mid-20s. the first time. The first time I traded was probably in my mid-20s, I think. So, yeah, that's cool. That's cool to start so young because you have a lot of time to figure it out, you know? You have a lot of time to figure it out. And if I were you, Marv, like, just stick to, like, trading with either demo trading or, well, you've been trading 4 years, so you're probably not, maybe you're not demo trading anymore, but if you are not consistently profitable, then I would go to demo trading or just trade really small size, like very little risk, like $5 a trade. So it just allows you to learn without, you know, having your losses get too big that kind of discourages you from trading. So that's what I would do if I ever, you know, if I had to do it all over again, that's what I would do. If I was in my 20s, just wait and don't put too much money in the beginning, because I was too smart not to use demo. I was like, I don't need demo accounts. I know what I'm doing. How hard can it be to trade stocks? So, I deposited $25,000 into a trading account in my mid-20s, and I was like, okay, let it rip. First 1 minute candle on Apple. And of course, I got wrecked. It didn't work out well at all. And that's why I went back to work and doing different stuff. And I ended up going back to school to get a graduate degree, a master's degree. And I was working and doing other things. But, to do this thing full time, to do trading full time, it's really difficult. This is a really difficult job, really difficult business. And to do this for the long term and pull money out of the markets, I mean, you're basically, I think I got this from Trader Dante. Trader Dante has a quote up on his Twitter, something like, basically like you're looking for the market to get into a position where you're going to take other people's money. And so many people have the feeling that they got to be in the market, or where I'm a trader, I have to trade. But this is all coming from Trader Dante. He basically said, I'm just paraphrasing, that you have to you make your money waiting for the market to get into a position where you can extract money from it. And so it's kind of like waiting is where the money's made. And also the important thing is that you are taking money from other people. Right, you're trying to get into a situation where you're going to take other people's money. It's like poker. When you play poker, you are going to take someone's money, and you have to realize that there's somebody else on the other side of that money, and they're not gonna part with their money very easily. So you're gonna have to be good to get that money out of them, right? It's like playing poker. Unless you're playing with just a huge fish, I mean, they're not going to make it easy for you to get their chips, right? When you're playing poker against somebody and they're decently good, or they know what they're doing, they're not just going to call every time you have a good hand and pay you off. They're not going to go all in with bad hands. They're going to make it tough for you, right? They might bluff you back, or they might call your bluff. So it's going to be a difficult battle. And that's what the stock market is. It's a difficult battle. And the best thing you can do is just do very light risk, very low risk, or demo trading until you have mastered it. And then slowly move your risk up from there. And I wish I had done that. Because ironically, and Marv is saying, yeah, I thought the same. I don't need the demo. Yeah, I thought the same thing too. I think everyone thinks that, Marv. Everyone out there is thinking, I don't need the demo. Demo trading is for people who don't know what they're doing. But we know, right? We're too smart for that. We're too smart to use demo. So like, you know, that's like the you know, of course that's the ego in us talking, because, you know, obviously smart people would use a demo. You know, like if you're humble, you're smart, you're like, you admit that, hey, I don't know what the hell's going on, right? I'm not a stock market expert, and I don't know which way Tesla's going to go. And that would be removing the ego and saying, I don't know. So if you don't know, then why risk real money if you're not sure? It's just like in poker, if you don't have the nuts, if you don't have the straight or the flush, and somebody's making a big bet, why do you call? Why would you call? Why wouldn't you just wait for a better spot against the player? Because you know you're going to win their money if you just wait. So it's just psychology, it's discipline psychology. And, you know, the ironic thing about all this, this is the ironic thing about it, right? Like Marv, like you thought the same, you don't need a demo. The ironic part about all this garbage is that, I call it garbage because it's kind of annoying. Speaking from personal experience here, the annoying thing about all this is that if you did use a demo, or if you did lower your risk, and if you didn't just jump in with $25,000, $30,000 and start trading right away, right? If you actually take it slow, the ironic part is that that's actually faster. It's faster for you to become a profitable trader if you go the slow route. That's the mind-blowing thing about all this, is that your brain wants to go, no, now. You need to get a real money account. You need to bid big now so that you can next year make more money, and next year. But the ironic thing is actually the opposite. If you use a demo, you go slowly, you use only $5 risk per trade, you'll graduate, you learn, and you graduate faster with real skill a year or two later. And you may be actually making money a couple of years later consistently. Whereas if you start off gunslinging like a cowboy, coming in there with, you know, buying 5,000 shares of the open 1 minute candle, using $30,000 real money with no risk management, well, if you do that for long enough, you're just prolonging your journey. So now instead of it taking you 2 years to learn, well, you're probably going to lose for the first 2 years. And then after that, you'll spend another 2 years with PTSD, second guessing every single trade you take. So now you're 4 years in, and then the fifth year you finally start learning, but you're just break even. And then sixth year you might start being a profitable trader. So that's the progression, right? The person who used the demo, used the lower risk, they started making real money like 2-3 years in. The people who didn't wait and just jumped in like me as a cowboy and said, hey, here's 30 grand market, I know what I'm doing, it might take them 5-6 years. So, or longer. So that's the ironic thing. That's the mind jumble, is that slower is faster. And that's so hard to wrap your brain around, right? Anything you do in life, you're like, I want to do it now. I want to do real money now so I can learn faster. But it's actually not faster. It's actually slowing you down, hampers your growth. So that's what's really hard to wrap your brain around with trading, because that's, you know, it's hard to think of it in those terms unless you have experience, like some of us do. Unless you've been there, done that, then you know the answer. This is the answer. That's why having a mentor or having somebody or talking to somebody that's done this before is super helpful if you listen to them, because they'll probably give you the same advice I'm giving you. And maybe I did get that advice and I was like, oh, I'm too smart for that. We're too smart to take good advice sometimes, right? We're too smart. But anyway, Christops is saying that, yeah, I agree. I wish I would have used a demo at the beginning and avoid putting any meaningful money into trading until it can prove consistency in some shape or form. And that's exactly it right there, man. That's exactly it. Is that, you know, avoid putting money, any meaningful money into trading until you can prove consistency in some shape or form. And, you know, that's good advice, man. That's good learning for sure. And, you know, but, you know, I've made that mistake. And probably every trade, you know, so like 99% of traders fail, or 95%, or whatever it is, the stat. That's why they fail, because they're making this mistake, right? They're jumping into it. And I've done it. You know, I'm admitting openly that I made this mistake, right? I've jumped in with real money, 25, 30,000, lost it, and then reloaded, and it you know, just took me a very long time to figure out stuff. And you know, I'm not an expert. I'm still figuring things out, right? I'm just documenting my journey on YouTube and sharing what my learning has been so far. And you know, I have a long ways to go. And so it's okay, you know, you make mistakes, you're still here. You can, if you lost money, you can earn the money back. If you're really young like Marv, you got all your whole life to make money. So, you know, you can always earn money, get it back, and then trading's always going to be here. So it's always good to, you know, be mindful of these things before we drop any more money into the markets, because it will take your money. Like NVDA took my money today. NVIDIA took my money. And right now, things are bouncing up. I'm trying to get a cover. So I had to order to cover hood at 37. But I put that order after the wick, hoping that it would like double bottom, but it never did. So now it's moving up. But I'm pretty confident on just leaving my order there, 37 to cover. So I'm still short Intel, still short Carvana. I did get a cover on Carvana, 175.36. I got a cover there. My stop is going to be at the VWAP area for the rest of my size. PLTR, I did get a cover below 81. My second cover is going to be near 80 bucks. It is, and my stop is going to be over the VWAP on PLTR. Same situation with hood. Stop over the VWAP, because if it makes it over that, then it'll be too strong. So that's what's going on there. Let's see. Kristaps is saying, if your problem can be solved with money, it's not really a problem. That's a good one, man. That is a good one, Kristaps. I have to think about that one. That makes me think. If your problem can be solved with money, it's not really a problem. Man, that's deep, actually. It's pretty deep, because a lot of things can be solved with money. Well, of course, not everything can be solved with money, but a lot of things can be solved with money. So that means most things are not a problem? So something else is the problem. Like in trading, problem can't be solved by throwing more money into your trading account. You can't just keep depositing your way into being a profitable trader. You can't just keep depositing 30,000 every month until all of a sudden you start making good trades. So yeah, the problem can't be solved with more money. You know, it's not the problem. The problem is the trading. Problem is not having a system. Problem is not having good risk management. And yeah, depositing millions of dollars in your trading account will not make you a profitable trader. It's not going to fix the problem. That's cool to think about, actually. You know, I guess that applies to a lot of things, probably, where, you know, if you can solve with money, maybe that's not really what the issue is. Okay, do we have any trades we can take? Looking around NVIDIA, you know, it just keeps, like, I keep wanting to long NVIDIA, but having been burned on it this morning, would have been burned a second time if I took that long over that 115 area, where you get that inverted red candle. This is the one where I was like, oh yeah, NVIDIA might be a long. Yeah, and then boom. That's how this candle ended. And then we were talking about shorting in here. We're like, oh yeah, this does look like a good short setup. And maybe we should short it here. Or I was just explaining like this is a setup that maybe I would take. But I didn't, because of just the way that sideways action was going, the way the market was looking like it was going to bounce. And look what happened. Like, if you got short here on NVIDIA, You got stopped out. Unless your stop is way up here, you probably got stopped out of NVIDIA. By the way, I was going to ask you guys about the audio on the stream because I can't hear my own voice. I don't have it on mute. So I was going to ask you guys, how is the audio for my voice versus the music that's playing in the background? Hopefully it's not like too loud one way or the other. I can adjust it if it's too much. So or let me know if you guys think it's okay as far as the volume level for my mic versus the music in the background. So curious to get your feedback on how that sounds. Audio's great. Okay, Kristaps is saying. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Kristaps, audio is great. Marv is saying audio is good and music is at a good level. It's not too loud. Yeah, I don't like it when the music is too loud. I've watched some streams where the music is so loud I can barely hear the guy talking. what am I supposed to hear to listen to music? Although music is nice when you're looking at charts all day. It's kind of cool, kind of chill. I definitely want people to be able to hear when I'm talking. But, I was watching over my stream from yesterday and I felt like my mic volume was like way too high. I was like, man, I'm like screaming into the microphone. So I lowered it a little bit today. But hey, you guys are the judge of that. So if it's sounding okay, then we'll leave it. Yeah, I got this royalty-free music from YouTube. That's like kind of chill music in the background, because you kind of want to chill when you're looking at these setups and you're like, I'm gonna jump into this long, and you're like, okay, just chill. Just wait and let the candle close before you jump into this long, because you don't want to jump into a trade that's not gonna work out. So yeah, thanks. Kristaps is saying music is subtle in the background. It's perfect. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I've been kind of seeing what works here to stream. This is pretty cool. I'm obviously new to doing this, so I got a whole 15 subscribers going. Let's make that 15 into 15,000 one day. That'll be cool. Wouldn't know what to talk about with that many people. To-do. Man, NVIDIA has bounced off that 113 level over the VWAP now. PLTR, is PLTR going to stop me out? What is going on with PLTR? Oh yeah, PLTR is very close to stopping me out. That's a bummer, because we had a cover order at the $80 area that didn't fit, we didn't get a move back down. I didn't want to chase it up, but that's all good. We hit it. Yeah, I mean, this is the point where I'm really not worried, like I'm gonna give back some of the unrealized gain, right, that I had from a little while ago. if the stop's hit. If the stop's hit, I'll give back some of the unrealized gain, which I'm not, you know, I'm not happy about, but at the same time, it's like there's still going to be positive green trades, profitable trades. So, you know, this sometimes, especially like a day like today where it's not been super clean and there's not been very big range because of the gap up. The gap up has been so big that it's taken away some of the range from like when the market opens, because it's like only so much you can do, you know. I mean, the only real way to get range is if things drop. If it gaps up like 9-10%, like it's not gonna go another 10% higher, right? Like Tesla, for example, gapped up huge. Is it, you know, is it gonna continue going higher? I don't know. It's difficult for it to do. Yeah, like Tesla's already gapped up so much. Like, where's the range coming from? The range would potentially come from a downward move closing the gap. Maybe that's where the range would come from. That's why it's kind of difficult to trade when there's such a large gap. But look at this, is curling back into resistance here. If you were to draw a line right there, 247.30. Similar setup here on NVDA where it's bumping up against the previous resistance from earlier this afternoon, about 40 minutes ago. PLTR did stop me out, so I'm all out of PLTR short. So we shorted that just below 83. Unfortunately, did not get that second cover, so I did stop out of the remaining size on PLTR. But you know, did make a decent profit on that trade. Chris Taps is saying, I need to disconnect from the stream. Sorry, man. You cannot disconnect. You are stuck. You must keep watching. Just kidding, of course. Thanks for stopping by, Chris Taps. It was cool chatting about all the stuff. And, you know, looks like you got a lot of experience, too, for trading 10 years in. So, yeah, man. Catch you next time. Thanks for stopping by, Chris Taps. Blair's in the house. What's up, Blair? Oh, man, Blair, we had a choppy day today, man. Choppy day. We're working on a green day. But right now I'm short Intel, Carvana, and Hood. I just got stopped out of the PLTR short that I was in from this morning, and of course, kicking myself for not covering more of my size and on Carvana. I tried actually. Where was my last cover on Carvana? Carvana I covered. Oh man, I did get a good cover on Carvana. I covered at 175.50, 52, 175.52. I had a cover there. That was a nice cover. Bottom tick there, but SPY is sending everything up. I mean, you know, pretty big bounce on SPY off the 554. Now we're heading into all the SMAs, the 200 simple, the 50 simple moving average, the 20 simple moving average, and now my guess would be that SPY is going to reject. You got the VWAP there too. I mean, you got everything right there to stop the SPY. So, but you know, anyone's guess as you know which way it could go. It could just rip right through that and go to 566. Who the hell knows? But damn, what a bounce on PLTR. Should have maybe paid more attention to that. Potentially a long play off that 81 area. Blair saying, yeah, it was a chop fest. Yeah, dude. Total chop fest. I mean, look at, you know, Tesla got me. I tried to long Tesla. Blair saying, I ended small red 54 today. Yeah, that's not bad, dude. It's not bad. I'm green on the day. I'm up about 1 hour. I was up about 4 hour actually, unrealized. I didn't take any of the profit, so it kind of lost like 3 hour not taking profits. But you know, the system that I'm trying to use is I'm just trying to wait for my covers, you know, and sometimes I get them, sometimes I don't, and I'm just trying to be patient with that. So Blair traded Tesla today. Yep. Yeah, I think you're just doing Tesla now, from what I remember. Like you're just trading Tesla or TSLA, the leveraged product for Tesla. But yeah, I took a long on Tesla here in this area, thinking perfect bounce off VWAP and up we go. And of course, I ended up stopping out early on this, so I didn't lose the full R, but I did have a losing trade on Tesla, and then NVDA did stop me out. Took a long, same situation, stopped out. Those are my 2 losses for the day, and then I've had 4 wins. Intel, Carvana, PLTR, and Hood were my 4 winners for the day. And now I'm hoping that all of these are going to reject, like Hood, Carvana, and where's Intel? Did I take Intel off? Oh, yeah, let's put Intel back on because I'm still in this trade. So wait, hold on a second. Intel, let's put Intel back up, and I want to, yeah. So my stops on all my shorts, if they stop out, I'll still be green on the trade, but it'll just like, you know, barely green. But that's kind of nice. Like I can't lose at this point. Like I'm in a win-win situation. Holy smokes, PLTR. What a move. Let's put, I wonder if Tesla is along here. Oh man, yeah. Blair's like, yeah, that's good. Cool that you're streaming. Yeah, Blair, I've been doing it now. I just started this week, and I figure, you know, it's kind of cool to put my thoughts out there. Now, I actually like streaming. I enjoy it. It's pretty cool. It is a little distracting though from taking actual trades, because sometimes I'm like chatting away, and then it's like, oh wait, I missed that setup or whatnot. So sometimes it's a little difficult, but it's cool. Because, you know, especially because there's not a lot of streams that day trade large cap stocks. There's a lot of streams for small caps, futures. But I don't see anybody out there really like. Well, there's a few, but maybe one good one, but the rest of them are kind of iffy. So I figured I'd kind of do this and see if we can build something here. Blair saying I played with fire today, was green $200 and red $300. Oh man, then ended up red small. Yeah, dude, those days are tough, man. You know, that roller coaster where especially when you start off green, it's like when you start off green, it's so difficult to go red, because then it's like, for me, it triggers that it triggers the revenge mode, enables the revenge mode. So then I'm like, oh no, that's my $300. I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that's my $200 that I was green. I'm gonna get my $200 back and then some. And then that's usually when I end up going red. And then it's like really hard to recover after that. But looks like you recovered, Blair, so that's pretty good. You're good with your risk management, Blair. Like your risk management's really good, where you don't allow yourself to get so red that it's irrecoverable kind of day, you know? And I think that's like so much of trading, like just not getting too deep of a red. I think that's like 50% of trading. If you figure that out, you're like halfway there. The rest of it, like good setups, pushing bigger size on the A+, like that stuff you can figure out later. But if you don't have this part down, where you're just not losing big amounts, if you don't have that part down, you're never gonna make it. You know, it doesn't matter if you're pushed good size. And you know, that's been my struggle, is just having really big red days where you know, I have my green days, which are great, but then it's like these red days that just engulf everything. And you know, so, but with this new thing that I'm doing, using 10-minute charts and slowing things down, forcing myself to be disciplined, I think that's going to help me, you know, to avoid these these disaster days, and also forcing myself to be patient for profit targets too. That's another thing, is like I found myself on the days that I was green, it's like I'm making like 4 or 5 R, but those days should be 10, 15 R days, because the stock did end up going a lot more in my favor. So like, why did I take it off? Just because I was up? So, you know, it's like stuff like that that's really hard to, you know, really hard to wrap your brain around, like what's the right thing to do, because you want to take the profit off right away. When you see the green, you're like, that's mine, I'm taking it, versus, yeah, I'm green, but I need to wait for the stock to reach this level, because it's like really think that it could drop to this level. So, okay, I should wait and cover the shorts there. And also number 2, I need to wait for the stock to hit my target, because if I don't, then my risk reward is not going to be correct for the trade, right? Like if you're risking $2 and the stock moves $1 in your favor and you take the profit, well, you were going to lose 2 to gain $1. That doesn't, in the long run, that's going to be a losing system. So you kind of have to force yourself to wait till $2, 2 to 2, that's 1 to 1. But really, like, you want to wait for $4. So if you're risking $2 and your target is, I'm going to cover at $4 lower, then now you're getting 2 to 1 on your trade. And if you, of course, you know, you can't just randomly make up the numbers and be like, okay, I'm going to wait for $2. I'm going to wait for $4 because I'm risking 2. Well, it's got to make sense, right? The stock's got to have room for it to drop $4, or there's got to be a level lower. So you got to have some sort of indication it's going to do that. And that's the tricky part. That's the difficult part. That's the stuff that I still struggle with, right? Like today, still struggling with all that. But that's sort of my approach right now. That's sort of my approach, is sort of focus more on getting into trades where I have a good risk reward system. That's kind of like my focus. I'm focusing on that. So maybe, you know, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. We'll find out, I guess. Chris Stapps is saying, Blair said, yep, he's happy with today. He hit a nice 1 hour FVG. So it may go higher, he's saying, on Tesla. Yeah. 1 hour FVG. So that's like, I think, I'm not too familiar with the fair value gaps, but I think he's doing something like this. Is it like maybe this or something like that? That's the fair value gap. I don't know if this candle counts as pre-market. I don't know if that candle counts or not. But maybe this is the fair value gap here. Yeah. But yeah, he said he had a 1K red day last week, but made it back in 3 days. Man, Blair, that's pretty good, dude. back in 3 days, making 1K. That's pretty good. And that's the thing is that, you know, you keep your losses small enough. I mean, 1K is, you know, it sucks. That's a big red day. But, I mean, relatively speaking, if you can make it back in 3 days, then it's relatively small. If it was like a $10,000 red day, then you're like in, you know, you're in a world of hurt. But that's pretty cool. Chris Stapps is saying, if you can flatline break even, trade not to lose money, you're very close. Yeah, Chris Stapps, that's what I'm saying. Blair's really good at that, like having those daily max losses and like mastering, like, you know, not taking a big loss on any one trade even. Like, Blair's really good at doing that. And yeah, if you can not lose money, if you can not lose money, then you're halfway there to making money. Imagine that. If you can not lose money. Yeah, you're halfway there. Exactly. If you can trade not to lose money. That's kind of what I'm doing today. I'm trading not to lose money because what happened? I got stopped out of another trade. Did I get stopped out of another trade? No, PLTR I got stopped out of, but I'm still in Intel, Carvana, and Hood. What happened to... What else was I in? Intel, Carvana, and Hood. Yeah, PLTR was the only one I got stopped out on, so I'm still in Hood, short. Still in Carvana, short, and Intel, short. But yeah, Blair is saying, yeah, slowing down is good, but trying to size up. That's the big difference between small caps and the large cap, is that at least with large caps, I get a good fit, a good fill, or at the very least, way better fill. Yeah. That's the difference, large caps and small caps. Yeah, I mean, also like I feel like large cap is like a slower way to trade. It's more like, it's kind of like a cruise ship moving through the ocean, where it's gonna move and it's gonna kind of trend. Whereas small caps are like little jet skis in the ocean. Like, you know, you can turn on a dime. We have no idea which way it's going. Any little wave is gonna make it go the other way. So small caps I have no idea what. You know, I've tried, you know, me and Blair have traded small caps for quite a bit. I actually spent like a whole year and a half shorting small caps in 2021. Like starting 2021 into 2022, I was like a short seller. And man, like, I didn't touch large caps. I didn't go long. I was only shorting, locating stocks every morning and doing that. And then, yeah, that was... I mean, you know, there's people that do that and make good money, right? I met some people that were only shorting small caps, and kind of makes sense, right? Because most of these small caps, if you look at the chart of any small cap stock, like whatever the big runner is today, just look at the chart and look at the history. I guarantee you it's gone up like 500%, and a week later it's back to where it started. So if it was $1 and it went to $10, look at the chart. What happened a week later? It's back down to $1. So statistically speaking, like, shorting small caps is the way, right? Not just because of what I just said about the charts, but also the second thing, which is probably more important, is the fundamentals. Most of these small cap stocks are straight garbage. They don't make revenue. They don't have profit. They're run by shady people. You know, it's like... you know, why not short them? It makes sense to short it, but then of course you got the short squeezes, and you got, like, you know, different players. You got a whale that's in there just holding it up. It's like a lot of manipulation in small caps, and I think then you got the market makers manipulating. You got algos running. You got all this stuff going on. So yeah, I get it, man. Large caps, at least you get you know, good fill, better fill. And Blair saying, I'm not even thinking about it in R's. I'm just trying to scalp and hit $500, $1,000 days. I'm getting close. That's awesome, Blair. Yeah, I mean, I think that's keeping it simple, man. You know, like, you don't worry about R's. You don't worry about risk versus reward. You don't, and that's totally cool, man. Like, you know, there's no like right or wrong way to think about it. At least in my opinion, I'm not an expert, but by no means I'm not an expert on this, but you know, sometimes better keep it simple. Try to make $500 a day and that's it. You know, it's hard being a discretionary trader. Yep. He's saying, yeah, it's a great approach. Having good RR is a good idea. Yep. That's basically what it is, more or less, with FVG. Okay, I got the FVG thing. Yep. And he's saying not going to large caps, and it's it's night and day difference to smalls anytime. He's not going anytime soon. Not back there anytime soon. Made some money with them in the past year. Way less stressful. Feels like he can dig out of a hole easier. Yeah, with large caps for sure. And way more consistent, and more consistent in terms of how much profit you can make each day. Easier to scalp, better fills. I could go on and on. No halts, so many things. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started trading like 15 years ago, Blair. Maybe longer. And I remember like starting with like OTCs. I think this guy was still around back then. What's that guy that's he's still selling, he's still like big in the small cap. Not Warrior Trading, but the guy that came before him. I think Warrior learned from the other guy. Wears glasses, dark hair, forget his name. But he's like the OG OTC guy. He's been around 20 years. And I started following him, and I was, you know, I deposited money into an account like 15 years ago. Tim. I keep wanting to say Tim Ferriss, but I know it's not Tim Ferriss. I know it's not Tim Ferriss. Something. Tim Stocks guy. Timothy Sykes. Tim Sykes. Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember watching his stuff like 15 years ago. He was trading penny, like OTC tickers, right? Like 20 cents, 5 cents. Tim Sykes. Yeah, Marv, you got that right, Marv. Tim Sykes. And I remember like depositing money into, I think it was Ameritrade back then too, like 15 years ago. Ameritrade. And I started trading, and I was like, I lost money so fast. It was like, and of course, I was too smart to use demo accounts. You know, way too smart for that, because I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to use demo or small size. You know, I'm just going to full size all in 1 minute candlesticks on OTC charts. Man, that was dumb. So dumb. But Marv, you're not gonna make that mistake, Marv. You're not gonna make the same mistake I did. Tim Ferriss wheel. Tim Ferriss wheel. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know who Tim Ferriss is, by the way. Do you guys know? Probably Blair does, or maybe he. Tim If you guys don't know who Tim Ferriss is, it's FERRISS. I'll put it in the chat. Tim Ferriss, he's pretty cool, man. Like, if you guys haven't checked out Tim Ferriss's stuff, yeah, Tim Ferriss wheel stuff. I wonder if he probably got picked on in school with that, right? Tim Ferriss wheel. That was probably his. What's going on? I just got stopped out of another trade. What the hell? Okay. Well, doesn't matter because it stopped in profit, right? Still made a profit on Hood. I got stopped out on Hood with a profit. And now my only two shorts that are open are Intel and Carvana. And it looks like I'm going to end up with like a small green day if I end up getting stopped out of all of these, which is unfortunate because I was up like 4R. So it's unfortunate to give some of these back, but gotta stay true to the system. Follow the system, as they say. Who's that? Blair's asking, who is Tim Ferriss? Who's Tim Ferriss? Well, Tim Ferriss is basically like an author and entrepreneur. Investor, and he's a big podcaster. yeah, Tim Ferriss he's got a podcast. But I learned about Tim about 10 years ago. Blair saying, let's go. You got a great radio streamer voice too for this. Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Maybe I should start a podcast. Who knows, man? I would love to start a podcast because I love to chat with different people and stuff. That would be pretty cool. But this Tim Ferriss guy, okay, I not ran into him, but I heard about him like probably 10 years ago. And this is back before podcasts were a thing. I didn't think podcasts existed more than a decade ago. I ran into this stuff through a book that I picked up. It was called The 4-Hour Work Week. Okay, 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And I'll put that here in the chat, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And it's really good. I mean, well, it was really good. I mean, it still is really good if you guys want to check it out someday. I should put an affiliate link, make you guys click my link and buy it. But I'm not going to do that. So Tim Ferriss, I read his stuff, The 4-Hour Work Week. I read that book 10 years ago. And, absolutely eye-opening book, by the way. Okay, I still recommend, you guys should go read it. You guys should check out The 4-Hour Work Week. I would highly recommend it. Hood, by the way, I might reshort Hood if it... I'm going to wait for this candle to close and see what happens. But The 4-Hour Work Week in a nutshell, I mean, I read that thing 4 years ago, so maybe I've forgotten some of the stuff. But Tim Ferriss basically lays out a plan for his life that he only works 4 hours a week. Not 40 hours a week. He works 4 hours a week. And when he wrote this book, he had a supplement business where he was selling like vitamins or something like that. And he was making $80,000 a month profit selling vitamin supplements. But he had a team in place that was working at the warehouse, doing the marketing. So he would spend very little time on the business because his whole idea was, hey, I'm going to only work 4 hours a week. And he was doing Muay Thai boxing or mixed martial arts, and he was traveling the world. He was like every week he was in a different country. He makes it sound very glamorous. And I don't know how much of this is accurate or if I'm remembering some of this stuff wrong. I don't know, maybe I am. But the point is his whole thing was you shouldn't be working 40, 50 hours a week. That's ridiculous. And more importantly, you should be building businesses or something like that to make income while you're doing other things. That was his whole thing. So that's Tim Ferriss. And so the 4-Hour Work Week is I think that's what got him on the map. That was his big thing, his breakthrough. And then, of course, he launched a podcast. And he has some really smart people that are on his podcast that talk about different business stuff, business related stuff, or even health and fitness and just basically any sort of improvements that you can make in your life. That's what Tim Ferriss talks about. So that is not the Tim Ferriss that I started with 15 years ago that taught me how to trade stocks. It was Tim Sykes, not Tim Ferriss Wheel, as Blair's calling him. So, anyway, that's interesting. A blast from the past. Tim Ferriss, blast from the past. And that actually, after reading his book is what got me into, my e-commerce business. I started that probably, a few years after reading that book and kind of set me on that path to kind of thinking about work a little bit differently and not thinking about work in terms of, hourly putting in work, but building a business of some sort. And then that's kind of he's got some interesting stuff to look at if you're interested in business, if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, my trades continue to tank. Trades go in the gutter. Intel is the only one that hasn't stopped me out, and Carvana is threatening to stop me out. but the stops are over the VWAP on both Carvana, and Intel is also over the VWAP for the stop. Tesla, man, it's looking pretty good. Hood, what a nice curl up on Hood. Oh, what did I do here? Man, what a nice curl up on Hood here. Blair saying, dude, you would kill it with a podcast. Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. Maybe we should start one. Maybe we should start a podcast. I don't know about what. Maybe a trading podcast. Wonder if people listen to two guys talk about trading all day. Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe that's just the thing people are looking for. There's a podcast about people talking about day trading. That's the void in the market. Ooh, there goes Tesla, man. Tesla. I wonder if we can get along here. Looking at the higher picture time frame, I mean, it looks pretty solid, especially on the daily. 15-minute looks good. The 30-minute looks good. And the SPY also. We just need the SPY to get over this area here. Man, if SPY does get over 560, guys, watch out. We're in for a heck of a bounce for sure. Let's see here. I'm keeping an eye out on Tesla for sure. It is one of the strongest names on the market right now. It's up 7.8%. Okay, the candle closed. The only thing that's kind of holding me back from taking this long is just how choppy Tesla's been all day. It's been fairly choppy all day. So, like, am I going to think that all of a sudden now it's no longer choppy? Like, is it like a change? It changed its character. So now from choppiness, it's going to be like, oh, now I'm going to trend cleanly. That's what I'm thinking right now. If I get into this, is this going to trend cleanly? And is it going to get over the 250 and 60 mark? And are we going to continue higher? If that's the case, then I should be getting in. Of course, the other issue is the risk versus reward, which is what I talked about, is like, you know, if I get in here, what does it look like on a 5-minute? More granular when you see it on the 5-minute. It's a pretty clean uptick here over. The other question is, of course, risk versus reward, which is this, if we get in along here, 248, we're going to have to risk below this consolidation, risk below here, say 45, so roughly $3 to $4 stop. Can we assume that this will go $8 up? So from 49 to 57, do we think it's gonna go up that much? I don't know. Oh, I mean, the next level for Tesla, looking at it on a Blair saying, good stuff, I gotta run now, but this is cool, keep it going. Thanks, Blair. I appreciate you stopping by, Blair. Thanks for stopping in, man. Always cool to connect and see what you're up to, man. So, thanks for stopping by. Catch you tomorrow. Yeah, the Tesla does look pretty solid here on, this is a 30-minute time frame where consolidated sideways dip. Now, do we get the rip up to 259? So to answer my own question, yeah, I mean, there is room up to 259. Right? There is room up to 259. However, it's got to get over the high a day, 251s, 252. It's got to break 252. If it does, yeah, we definitely have room to move up. So Carvana has just stopped me out, so I'm out of Carvana. And yeah, maybe the longs are in. Let's see here. All right, I took a few longs. We're long NVDA, we're long Tesla. Market's ripping higher. Let's go. We got 2 longs, 1 short on Intel. Intel I might stop out here because if the market's going to continue higher, then I don't see any reason why Intel would continue to stay lower. So yeah, I'll probably just go ahead and take Intel off here. Take this cut off, the short. Yeah, and now we just got the 2 longs. NVIDIA long, Tesla long. These are going to be fairly tight stops because if it doesn't work right away, then I think we're just going to get a rejection and move lower. So at the same time, I'm kind of keeping my eye out for rejections on the SPY. Because if we get a reject here and then turn back down below 558.80s, then I think this whole move could have just been a relief bounce and then we move lower. So Alright guys, I think we're gonna call it a stream here. So small green day for me. I'm in the long on NVDA and Tesla. Those are the two only open positions I have on now. But I'll probably take a break soon and then maybe come back doing power hour, take a few trades, maybe not. Just depends on you know, if we see any setups. But yeah, thanks for hanging out guys, and we'll catch you guys again on the next stream tomorrow morning. So we'll try to do it all over again tomorrow, Thursday. Alright, take care guys, thanks for watching.